My darling Hillary, welcome to the Healthy Hustlers podcast. How are you?
Good, thank you. It's such a beautiful, almost surreal moment for me. I used to listen to your podcast like when I first started listening years and years and years ago. And so it's a really cool moment to be interviewed now.
It's so nice to have you. And
Yeah.
it's like really surreal for you to tell me that as well.
Oh,
Sometimes, and I'm sure you understand this when you do work in the online space, sometimes if you're not having those in-person experiences, it's hard to feel that you are making that impact or that
yeah,
connection.
yeah.
So hearing you say that and just, you are so the embodiment of your work and so inspiring what you do. And then hearing you listen to my podcast, I'm like, oh my goodness, it's so cool. So thank
Well, you honestly, it was even more than that. You expanded me of what was possible. I remember being in my law job and listening either on my way to work or on the way home and being like, this is so cool that this woman has created something that you can feel her passion and you could feel your
you.
life force. And I could just tell that you're in such embodiment. And you know, when that frequency, I feel like when people are operating at that higher frequency, it uplifts you
Yes.
and it like shifts something in you. And it
Mm.
really, I remember it was you and yeah, like showing me even, and there's probably a part of me that was like, maybe one day I'll do a podcast.
Yes,
It
it's like
wasn't,
almost showing you what's possible and what's
yeah.
here for you.
Yeah. And it wasn't like the
Definitely.
desire had come in yet. I
Mm-hmm.
wasn't at that place yet. It wasn't like, oh, I'm listening to this or loving this because maybe it's showing me something that I could do one day.
Yes.
It was just like that curiosity and that resonance. I feel like
Mm-hmm.
people should always listen to that because it's never
Definitely.
that there's something lacking within you. It's just showing you what's possible within you.
Yes, so beautiful. And I would love you to give our beautiful listener a little insight into
Yeah.
you, who you are, what you
Yeah.
do now. And then we will take it back to the early days, Hillary working in law. You've had a very phenomenal and fast journey from where you were to where you are now. So I'm really excited to dive into all of that. But give us a little snapshot of right now, what you do, the impact you're making in the world.
Thank you. It's so funny because it didn't feel fast, but then I look back of how much
Yes.
this happened in just a few years. But you
Mm-hmm.
know, when you're in it, and especially at the beginning, when you're like, will it ever start to feel like I'm making traction? You know, you
Mm.
can start be putting things out there or getting ideas, and sometimes it can feel slow. But then you're actually in reality, how if you keep consistent or if you keep trusting, I find it's like that trust until it's a knowing. Um, yeah, so a few years ago, I was working in law and I was feeling really inauthentic,
Mm-hmm.
really stuck, really confused,
Yeah.
really lost. And it took me down this path of self discovery and curiosity, podcasts like yours and different wisdoms I started to learn along the way. I was never what I would think. I wasn't a spiritual person. I
Mm.
used to almost roll my eyes
I
at
remember
all
you
of
said to me,
this.
I was like
Yeah.
in the closet with spirituality.
Yeah. Beyond in the closet, it was like I was so ashamed of it. It was, you know, this part of my soul that was so curious and wanting to explore, but it was just shut down, shut down, shut down, because this is what your mind does,
Yeah.
especially if it threatens your belonging, if
Mhm.
you feel like people won't understand, if you feel, and you go through an identity crisis.
Oh, 100%. I
Mm,
think especially if it's not that foundation, like if you haven't been
mm,
raised to
mm.
have certain beliefs or something to be normalized,
Yeah.
it is like an identity or like, and so
Yeah.
many people say to me like, oh, I sound like a weirdo saying this or this sounds, I'm like, you don't sound crazy to me. Tell me, you can give it to me.
Exactly. Well, I just see it as life now. I just feel like you just
Yes.
understand life and energetics. It's
Yeah.
not, I think the whole idea of it being crazy or woo woo, all of these things, it was just a way to suppress this
Yeah.
inner knowing,
Hmm.
especially women. It was like, we'll tell you you're crazy because then that intuitive wisdom would actually transform things, would
Hmm.
actually bring down different powers. It would, cut through a lot of the bullshit that's just being,
Fed to us.
fed to us. Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, we go through these identity crises, and what I've come to realize is like what better identity is than infinity or than energy or life force or infinite possibility. And for so long, I was so attached to different masks or different roles or different ways I thought I had to be. And I think a lot of people go through this point where it's like, well, life will push you to there where it's almost enough. I
Mm.
can't keep operating like this. Either you get sick, either things start to like these patterns keep happening. And life will always start to invite you into your true expression, because that's the whole point here, is to grow, evolve, and contribute in some way. And it's not random, the things you're interested in, your life path, things that have happened in your life. And so along the way, I started to pick up different modalities and wisdom, sciences. I love to learn. I'm a big forever student. And human design was a really, really big one for me. It really shifted the way I saw myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that when you have a truer, deeper, more empowered understanding of yourself, your true nature, your energetic nature, because we are energetic beings, we are
Yes.
just energy. We think we're these bodies, just like these like flesh and bone, and that's it. No, there's an energy within you that when it is amplified, when you're allowing your life force to, you attract what you desire, you create what you're here to create. And so what human design does, and why I'm so passionate about it and why I now teach it, is that it gives you a higher perspective, a truer perspective of yourself. No longer one of, I'm not enough, I have to force this, I guess I missed out on like a good life, or life is out to get me, life is hard, I'm lacking in some way. Because when you believe that, you create that reality. I'm currently reading this book called Power versus Force by Dr. David Hawkins, and he speaks about how lower frequencies, when you are operating at this like guilt, shame, fear, self-hatred, it's always inward.
Yes.
You basically create, and he did a 29-year study on this, you create that experience of that frequency. And when you give yourself a new story, or you start to understand at a more loving, which is, he measured these frequencies, a loving, accepting, compassionate, another gratitude frequency, you attract that energy.
Yes.
And this is why it's like you can have two people that one person believes that life is infinite possibilities and another person believes it's infinite problems. And what you believe is your reality.
And you're going to keep searching for that ultimately,
exactly.
aren't you? Yes.
Yeah, your brain will look for that evidence. Your RAS system in your brain will look for your evidence. So yeah, I've gone on a bit of a tangent there, but yeah, human design was the modality that really stuck with me.
Stuck with you.
Yeah, it was the one that I always came back to, and it was the one that really changed the way I thought about myself.
Yes.
And thought about other people. And from there, it was like my whole life reconfigured around me because of that.
Human design.
Yeah.
So I know there's a lot of curiosity with podcasts because I have been with human design. Because I have mentioned it a lot of the podcast because I love understanding my human design. It's like unlocked so much knowing and potential in me. And this is going to sound really morbid, but what you said before about like we being energetic beings, I feel like sometimes the easiest, and I'm backtracking a bit, but the easiest way I've realized to almost like grasp that is when you see someone, I'm not sure if you've ever seen someone resting to sleep or like, passed away. But I remember when I lost my nan, and I really didn't want to see her resting. But my dad's like, no, I think you need that kind of closure. And it was actually one of the most beautiful gifts that I had because it reinforced every belief I had about energy and souls. I think it's so emotional.
I've got goosebumps.
When you were saying that about we are energetic beings, it's like when you see someone's body resting, you realize that it is just a shell. Like it's literally everything that you love about them, appreciate about them, miss about them has left their physical body. And so, yeah, sorry, that's a total roundabout way of like, but I just love that you touched on that because I think if you want that kind of like visual or more understanding of energetics, if you can think of our body literally as the shell that carries us through the world, but the energy in the soul is what people fall in love with and are attracted to, and those energies that can be altered almost.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like when you understand that energy, to me, I call it life force.
Yes, and I love that you call it that.
I know.
It's so nice.
Good, because it really is the thing that it makes more sense to me.
Yes.
And I think as well, it feels more, I guess, welcoming or easy to grasp compared to like, you don't have to be spiritual, you don't have to be scientific to understand that. And exactly with what you're saying. And I think what we see is that the problems start happening in our life, or we start to feel a certain way when we believe we are just this body.
Yes.
And what I mean by that, it's like when we understand that the life force, the energy that's moving through you is the same that turns tides, is the same that generates ideas, is the same that's created everything. It's like what life is made from, energy. And so how could we ever say that our life force is not enough? How could you ever say that your ideas are not enough? How could you ever say that you are separate or somehow don't belong when you are the same energy that is running through everyone else, but you have a different flavor or, manifestation of it? And so what I loved about that, because as someone who especially I went through, so much like self-judgment and self-hatred, and I used to try all the self-love things and all like even body love and even all of the confidence pieces. And it wasn't until like I took me out of it and realized, no, you're just life expressed through this body.
Yeah.
Like I'm talking to this person and it's like both of our life force, both of our energies just connecting. And when we can see that we are, as you said, like these energetic beings, it no longer takes this idea that there can be anything lacking from that. Because honestly, the most heartbreaking thing especially in our world is this disconnection from this innate essence within ourselves and feeling like we're just, our five senses as well. It's like we're so disconnected from our intuition. Or if I can't see it, taste it, touch it, prove it with my limited mind, then it either doesn't exist or it's not possible for me.
Yeah.
And so that keeps people in this like chokehold. It keeps people in their comfort zone or attached to that because they don't feel safe outside of it.
Yes.
And so in this of understanding your energy that's constantly flowing and moving, you can't be lacking, you're always growing, you're always receiving, this like, even when it comes to money, I was thinking about this recently. It's like when you give your life force, you receive life force. The way that we have decided to show our value of life force, we've given money.
Yes.
And this is the whole thing with energy. It's like money is energy. So it's like, okay, give your life force, give your passion, give your ideas, give your expertise, whatever you're interested in, because it's not by accident, and receive life force, which we're choosing to say money. Yeah.
And I love that you said that because we can get so fixated on money being a physical thing, and it's not at all. Like it is.
Even these days, we don't even have cash anymore.
It doesn't even exist. It's literally numbers on a screen that anyone can put on there. And I've been doing this little meditation lately and EFT tapping that's all around like, I am money.
Yeah. Oh, I love that.
I am money. Money's me. I'm the frequency of money. And that has been a really cool little shift. Exactly what you're saying, that your energy is what is actually making you a match with the money.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, that in itself was just like so much less attachment to this thing that we've been made to believe is physical. When do you go like to work and someone pulls a limited amount out of their pocket and says, okay, here you go. I know we used to, and like I used to grow up believing that was the truth because I worked in restaurants and that's actually what happened. But it's like, that doesn't, like it's so unlimited in terms of what you can call in.
Yeah, well, what I love really love about that as well, it's no longer is this attachment of I need more of it. It's like showing you that it is this, it's nothing outside of you.
Yes.
Because this is this whole thing. Yeah.
Which is really cool.
Yeah, I love that.
I kind of went to ask it before and now
Yes,
I'm like,
please come back.
From a human design perspective, I would love to give just like some context because it is something that's like really guided me. And obviously you have unlocked the most magical magnetic path with human design. But I guess if the listener is really new to it, what would you describe in a very simplistic way, human design?
Yeah. How I see it is it's your energetic blueprint of your highest self, of your truest self, of the person you came here to be and who you are at your innate core. But what happens is that we move through life and we pick up conditioning, we pick up stories, we pick up ideas, which I just believe is truly a part of the human experience. It's nothing to ever shame our parents for. It's nothing to ever get angry at society from. It is part of the human experience because we come in as I guess, you see it in babies. They have nothing to prove, nothing. They are who they are.
Yeah.
And we go through a process of almost forgetting that and then coming back so it becomes even more sacred and you can hold even more light, wisdom, love, abundance, all of the things. So human design, it brings you back to that truth. And what I see is that a lot of people aren't actually, it's not like anyone is holding people down. It's not like anyone's putting people in a prison and you can't do this, you have to do this. It's our own mind And we're in these prisons in our mind. And what it's doing is that it's giving you a higher perspective of yourself so that you no longer live in the container that your mind is trying to keep you in. And the reason why is because your subconscious only cares that you're safe.
Yes.
It only cares that you're safe. And to it, safety is just the known.
Mm-hmm.
So by living truly as you intuitively, there is so much uncertainty. I was just recently in Nepal and learning from Tibetan monks, and a big teaching that they spoke about was the reality of impermanence in our life, speaking of like with your Nan, and the reality that every single thing is in a constant change and flux, including
Yes.
ourselves. And what we do is we try to control life, but then you're no longer in life, you're just in your mind.
Oh.
It's like you're no longer in a relationship with life, you're in a relationship with your mind. Yeah.
With your mind.
And we're going through our whole life just just constantly talking in relationship with our mind, not actually in life.
So for anyone who is listening now and going, oh, wow, yes, my thoughts, my mind is absolutely controlling me. Because at the end of the day, we're like little mini computers or iPads or what, we're just so
taking
programmed.
data.
I even see now with my son, he's 3, my daughter's 6. And he will literally say whatever she says. So if she walks up to the dinner table and she's like, oh, I don't want that, Mum. Even his favorite meal that I've cooked specifically for him, straight away, oh, Mum, I don't want that. Ew. And I'm like, you are, but naturally that is what he's going to do because but I'm like watching this conditioning play out even just in a sibling.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, then there's friends that influence that. There's Ryan and I that influence that. There's people like, their grandparents, that flow-on effect from the moment that they start understanding language, conditioned. And we get to these ages where we're, 30, a lot of the time we start questioning so much of what we've been told. I would just love to know from your understanding, like for anyone who is listening and thinking, I'm starting to have awareness that a lot of the beliefs, a lot of the conditioning is based on things that have been placed on me versus coming from a place of like true alignment and authenticity. What are some of the more earlier steps that they can take to really start, I guess, maybe playing with that subconscious versus conscious mind? Because I think sometimes when you start to just be curious and you start to play with it and see if you can build new beliefs, which you absolutely can, but it's that process of building that evidence. It's like, it becomes really exciting to do that, doesn't it?
Well, you can say that now. I think when you first start waking up.
When you start, it's like scary.
Yeah. And I think the biggest piece is like just honoring yourself in this, like, I say, you're like waking up. You're waking up. And as you beautifully mentioned, it's like, especially from 0 to 7, we are just in full hypnotic mode. You are just receiving. And how I like to see it is that, your children chose you. They chose to be conditioned by you because of some evolutionary path that they're here to have. And so we can think straight away negative conditioning. There's also positive conditioning.
I recently shared on my Instagram stories about my current skin journey. I hit my mid-30s and I'm not lying when I say my skin went wild. I had the craziest hormonal breakouts along my chin and around my mouth. I had not had pimples like this since I was a teenager, but I had heard of an amazing Australian product. So I went straight online and I ordered myself some. And I'm so happy to say that after 30 days, my skin has completely transformed. The glow is back and I'm feeling more confident than ever in my own skin. The product is Fem21 and it is an Australian-made naturopathic formula created by a clinical naturopath, beautiful Mia Robertson, who has been a guest on the podcast before. Mia designed this product to support women's hormonal balance, digestion, liver detoxification, adrenal function, and overall vitality. And let me tell you, this product works. Every single morning I wake up, I put 1 scoop into a glass and then fill it with filtered water. It has 21 natural ingredients, including herbs, fiber, probiotics, and superfoods. And Fem21 works holistically to address the root causes of hormonal imbalance rather than just the symptoms. It has been phenomenal to see the transformation of my own skin in just 30 days. It is such a beautiful ritual to start my day with because I know I'm cleansing my body, my liver, and balancing my hormones all in one. Plus, it makes me feel amazing to start the day that way. If you'd like to check out Fem21 and their incredible range of Australian-made products, then please head to fem21.com.au and grab their products today. I've also included a link in the show notes below for your convenience. Here's to happy glowing skin forever. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's what we get to choose now, how we're positively conditioned. I see human design as a positive conditioning.
Yeah.
Like it conditioned me. It totally changed the way I thought. I see it as like a subconscious reprogrammer because it literally got into my subconscious and gave me new beliefs and stories about myself. And so beautifully, as you said, it's like life will start showing you where you're in your, I call it illusion, in the illusions. And there's a lot of illusions. There's hundreds and thousands of illusions of you can't make money for that, or that person's out to get you, people want to betray you, or you're not safe here. All of these things, you are separate, you somehow are not enough. All of these illusions, you start to get curious, as you said, and it needs to come from so much self-love and so much self-acceptance and no blaming.
Yes.
No blaming to anyone else, because in doing that, again, it's like similar to what I was saying, like it's a lower frequency energy and it will just keep you in that victimhood state.
Definitely.
And when we can just be like, okay, cool, I've just noticed that I have this pattern in doing this, or I've noticed that I don't believe that that's possible for me. Okay, like the awareness, number one, awareness.
Awareness always.
Awareness. When you have awareness, even that, like this has been studied, physics speaks about the observer effect, where when electrons was observed, they actually changed. And if we think about it for our terms, is that when we observe ourselves and we witness ourselves, and that can be hard, sometimes you might realize that you've just done something or you've thought something 5 minutes later, 5 hours later, 5 days later. You know, you might be so in deep with this argument you've had with your family member and you haven't like woke up from it until 3 days later and you start to see a higher perspective. We want to be shortening the gap, but waking up in anything, that awareness is always beneficial, because a change in perspective is always beneficial.
Yes, definitely. And I think when you have that awareness, it's like that's when the curiosity comes in of how can I have a higher thought? How can I see if that's possible for me? And it's like that also then opens the door to that self-mastery in a way and being more curious, doesn't it?
Yeah, I see it as like an initiation. I see it as, cool, I've just been made aware of it because something so big is coming on the other side. So instead of seeing it as this negative thing, I see it as this like almost like guarding gate for the thing that you desire, or the higher energy, or the higher meaning. So let's use an example of a client decides not to sign up for you and you notice this story of like, maybe I'm not enough. Should I overgive? Maybe I should add more extras. Is it because I'm too expensive? Is it whatever? Wow, I've just noticed this narrative pop up. Instead of believing it as fact and then going to the client and being like, actually, I've decided that I'll give you half price and blah, 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 blah. Because then again, it's operating from that lack and from that scarcity and that not enoughness. And then they feel it. It repels anyway. And so instead, it's like, awesome, this has shown up for my greatest good, because everything shows up for your greatest good. This has shown me where I'm operating in some form of, lack or, scarcity. And amazing. That's because something so big is wanting to come through, and I need to look at this first. If something wasn't wanting to come through, you wouldn't need to have the awareness around it. Like, that's why when people are even dating, they might move through lots of challenges or lessons in the dating. It's like, because your soulmate or the person that's waiting for you is waiting for you to evolve into the person that will meet them.
Yes, I love
so
that.
It's like, amazing. Thank you, maybe future client, because often when you do the work around it, they come or someone even better comes.
Definitely.
And so it's that energy frequency, and see that everything is a teacher. So it's like, wow, that person just taught me that, I don't need to grovel, or I can sit in the discomfort, or I can, maybe you're like, okay, you could do some curiosity around something, but it's not ever from a place of reactionary behavior. If you're reacting, like I always, when I can feel like I need to react, pause, stop, breathe. What is this showing me? What is the teaching here? And then it totally, again, it shifts your frequency.
Yes. And I think looking at things as those lessons, like,
Yeah.
and when you said about the client, I had an interesting experience last year where a woman had jumped into one of my spaces, and it was like, it was a really interesting experience for me because from an energetic perspective, I was probably surprised that she'd been drawn to me. Like, it was just a very different, and like my first language is energy. So I'm like, I'm just like,
Yeah.
I can feel someone's energy.
And you're
that,
super intuitive. I was meant to say that to you earlier.
yeah. And so I was so just like, this is really interesting that she has been attracted to me. It was just a very different energy. Anyway, I was very catering to her needs.
There you go.
And naturally, like, it blew up and it turned a bit sour. And I went to I could feel the energy like in my body. Like, it was really, it was stopping me from really showing up online. And I was like questioning myself. But again, I was like, this is actually teaching me something. So I went to my Reiki energy lady, who's also psychic. She's like phenomenal. Didn't say anything about what had happened. As soon as I laid on the table, she's like, oh, babe, like, there's something here. Like, you've had this experience, like, I think maybe with a client, and I was like, yeah. And she like fully called the whole experience. It was so wild. And she said to me, like, this is a really big learning experience for you. And I was like, and that moment just gave me so much gratitude for actually going through that instead of being like resentful or thinking I had to change the way that I showed up or, change my offers or anything like that. It actually just gave me so much confidence that the universe was actually backing me because it made me step into my power more of like, no, I know what I'm teaching is amazing. I've got the most aligned, beautiful people. And I think when you can have that perspective of this is, it was yucky to go through. Like, it was uncomfortable, but it was such a beautiful teacher as well. And I think that experience has actually just like skyrocketed this year because I was like more in my power and more in alignment with the women that I am attracting. And I just wanted to share that because I feel like, sometimes I could have very easily taken the like, I'm not good enough, there's something wrong with what I'm teaching, but I'm like, no, let's just look at this as a beautiful learning experience. And I think anything that you're like investing in self with, or even if you don't get the full, what you feel like is a full investment out of it, there's always a beautiful learning in these experiences. So like just trusting that. And I think when you feel intuitively pulled to things and you follow that guidance, then you can trust that it's either going to be something that'll expand you or something that will teach you something beautiful. Even if it's a little bit more sticky and uncomfortable to be taught.
Well, they're the
it's
really
part of
good
your
ones.
evolution. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
They're the really good ones. And I feel like, and we've got beautiful Crystal here. It's like you start attracting these types of clients afterwards. And I've come into your space recently and such incredible women. And I always think it's like a little bit of a training camp before the next thing needs to come in. And when we see it like that, it shifts our energy and perspective around it. Because if you went into the woe is me and the shame, which is such a debilitating emotion and feeling, and then as well went into, blame with her, and that's what people can do. They go into shame and blame.
Yes.
And then what does that operate? Then they don't get the lesson, but then they stay on that same timeline. Then your clients like Crystal don't get attracted to it, And so it's seeing the bigger thing and almost actually being like, it's to exactly where you were. You become grateful to these teachers.
Yeah, it's such an interesting kind of process, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you reflect back to those early days when you were in law and you were in the spiritual closet, what were kind of some of the initial things, aside from human design, that you really felt like were pivotal kind of moments or pinpoints? If it was like a mindset shift, a book, a podcast, like what were those really key things that you can reflect on and think, wow, that really unlocked or moved something in me? That comes to mind.
I gotta really go back.
Like, I know personally when I started the podcast, like even just as simple as done is better than perfect was like just that mindset in itself, I felt like moved the needle so far for me. That like really simple shift, when something just lands or resonates and it's like it's an unlocking of self.
The thing that comes to mind now that you just said that is 20 seconds of courage was the thing that I told myself. And you do all this work and I remember doing so much like around inner child.
Yes.
I didn't realize what I was doing at the time.
Okay.
Now I look back and I'm like, oh, you were visiting a lot. I would like go and do these meditations with myself and visit my younger self and like
So
try and
powerful.
like, yeah. And also I was really starting to in that awareness mode of realizing,
Yes.
wow, I'm really trying to prove myself all the time, all of these things. Anyway, I was doing all of that, but it was still operating as I sometimes see it as like this same timeline of I was
Okay.
still kind of doing the same types of things. It was like nothing was really actively changing in my external reality. And sometimes as well, you need to do the thing that is outside of well, you definitely need to do the thing that's outside of your comfort zone. And I just remember I would have these moments where I was like, 20 seconds of courage, I'm going to do it. And I would like, I remember still to this day, I wasn't brave enough to do it in person. I called up my HR and I was like, I'm quitting, I'm doing it. And I just remember being like, and then I was calling her and I was like, I'm doing it, 20 seconds ago. And I was just like, I'm done it. And then I remember when I booked my flight over to Berlin, I went and moved to Europe right after. Like, I'm doing it, 20 seconds. Like, it just sometimes you just got to like
That
do the thing
shift.
because if you try and like, if you're moving into a different space, especially if you've already operated in your safe zone always. Like I was always in my safe zone, always in my
Yes.
known zone. And in these moments when you're saying, okay, but if I want different, I have to do different.
Yes.
When sanity is doing the same thing and expecting a different result. So sometimes it does just take this moment. And I even remember when I first started my business, I was like, first time I started the Instagram and did my first post and, to 20 followers and just like threw my phone on the other side of the room and was like, I did it. Oh my God. And I'd go and self-soothe and run to the beach and just be, licking my wounds. But I think sometimes it just does. You just have to
Yes.
back yourself. And now I often will, I love this practice of almost visiting your past self and like sending love and being like, keep going, because I believe that time is all happening now and time doesn't exist. So it's like that girl, that version is in it right
Still
now.
exists.
Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, sometimes you just need 20 seconds of courage.
I love that so much. That is so powerful.
Yeah.
And I sometimes actually really believe that those very simple things are actually the needle movers. Like but like you said, you were doing the meditations, you were getting the reps in of like the foundational kind of pieces. But then it's just like that next level thing that just pushes you that bit further.
Yeah.
And it's like that saying, like, feel the fear and then just go. Like, it's
Honestly.
so true. Like, just taking that one moment of action
Yeah.
sometimes, because we can get caught in the cycle of almost thinking we're doing the things. Like, I know I've been in
Yeah.
periods where I'm like, oh, but I'm meditating and I'm visualizing. But it's like, that was also very safe.
Yeah.
Like, it was a safe thing to do. And
You're
it was
doing the
like,
nice things.
yeah, and I was like
Yeah.
patting myself on the back, like, good girl. But it wasn't ultimately like shifting
Yeah.
because I wasn't doing the more courageous things.
Yeah.
But when it's like that moment of just like seeing something or moving, and it's like, it actually shifts like literal timeline.
If you want to shift timelines quick, do things you're afraid of.
Yes.
Because if you're afraid of them, they're important. If things are indifferent or you don't really care, then that's on, that's irrelevant for you. But if something is scary, that means it's so important for your evolution.
Wow.
It's like, and what people think is that they believe their fear.
Yes.
So they think that the fear is actual reality. They think, oh no, but I'm meant to be scared about that. That's actually something that is going to create
like a
some form
warning
of
sign.
pain
Yes.
or some form of loss in my life, rather than seeing that the fear is, again, like the guard for the greater manifestation or the thing that you're desiring. And the whole point of it is your evolution, because by moving through the fear, you expand your capacity of what you can receive. You expand your resilience, you expand your strength, you can hold more. And for me, it's like when I have something I'm afraid of and I like look for that and I move towards that, because there's no better feeling of how proud you feel for yourself on like a soulful level of like, I just did that thing.
Oh,
And sometimes, if I am unsure of whether it's the right thing to do or not, which is a little bit more like when you're more and more connected with your intuition, it's like you realize that there's no wrong decision anyway. It's like all of it is going to advance in some way. But at the same time, you can envision yourself at the end of doing the thing or making that decision or joining that group or moving that place. How do you feel in your body? Even just envisioning like, I've just done it. I've just done the big event or I've just started the podcast. How do I feel? Do I feel proud? Do I feel expanded? Do I feel yeah, like that sense of relief that it's done, then that means it's so important for you to do,
Yes,
you
I
know?
love that. For anyone that's moving through that really coming stage,
Yeah.
so big transitions,
Yes.
what would you say are kind of like some of the foundational pieces of, I guess, the becoming being the new identity that's stepping in? What would you say? Because I often find that people get really caught in that in between moment where it's like you're doing a lot of
Yeah.
the internal work and the internal shifting, but the external reality is often not because it's
Yeah.
naturally going to take longer to
Yeah.
catch up. What do you think some of the foundational pieces of that becoming are and how we keep moving so we hit that new identity?
Yeah. I know. I recently thought about this. It's like the mirror is not mirroring yet. It's like because life is mirroring your consciousness. So
Mm-hmm.
what I see that a lot of people get really frustrated is like they're doing the right thing, but it's not having the result that they want.
Yes.
And it's because it's not the action, it's the energy behind the action. And so the biggest piece that I do with myself all the time, I check my energy before I'm doing anything. Is this coming from fear or is this coming from love? Is this coming from ego and lack? Or is this coming from true, genuine wanting to overflow, wanting to do this, wanting to, give? And
Yes.
down to like, even if I'm like about to post something on Instagram, I'm like, am I doing this for external validation or genuinely have
Wow.
something to
So is
share?
that just to really
Really tune
check
in,
in, like
check in,
breathe?
because you receive back the same energy. So when and I don't know if you've noticed this I've definitely noticed in myself, if it's ever coming from external validation, it's not received as well as it could.
Wow.
And it can just be something, a shift. It can be the same, you're saying the same thing, but it's coming from a different energy. So in the becoming, I think when there is that mismatch of energy, you have to be really honest of where it's coming from. And that can be really challenging because especially if you're like, this is coming from lack, but genuinely I feel in lack. Like when I look around, I am like, it's in lack. And so this is where even speaking to, I call it a power practice, where you're shifting the energy around it so that it's no longer like that. It's basically that you don't want to be attracting more of the lower energy.
Yes.
So beautiful. I am feeling this initiation right now that I'm expanding into a bigger potential for myself. Giving it more meaning, giving it an option to say, like, I'm opening myself up to what is actually infinitely possible right now.
Yes.
So, where I'm going with this is when you can shift your energy around something, you're going to feel better.
Yes.
And in doing that, life meets you on that level. So I just wanted to mention that before I go into the becoming chat, because shifting your perspective will quite literally shift your life. Is this making
I love that.
sense?
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely.
So when we start to shift our perspective, you start to see that it's no longer the external that gets to define how you get to feel. So people are saying there's lack around me, so I feel lack.
Yes.
And
Or
when
it's
you,
like a tough economy or like
yeah, oh my
things
God,
like
I don't
that.
even listen. Yeah.
Even with house hunting at the moment, everyone's like, oh, Gold Coast market's wild, isn't it? I'm like, no, it's actually so fun.
Exactly. And then you're going to have
So
different
fun.
results from that.
Yeah, it's fun. I love it.
Yeah. And it's not about like just saying an affirmation around
No,
it. It's about
it's like
genuinely
genuinely
believing
believing
it.
that
Yeah.
and then like blocking out
Yeah.
the opinions of
Yeah.
others
And how I
or
do
their
it.
limitation.
Exactly. And how I do it is that I see, like, this is something that I learned from the Kabbalah. I see that whenever there's like that type of story, whenever there's that type of energy around, when you're like, no, but people say, like, genuinely, there's a bad economy.
Yeah.
Cool. So because they call it your opponent voice
Yes.
or your opponent energy. And when you have that energy that's showing up,
Yeah.
it's basically showing you that this is something that you're here to transcend and move through. And it's almost seeing that because the darkness is showing up, there's more light behind it, is what they say. And
Okay.
a way to ground this is when you wake up in the morning and you're full of doubt and full of negativity, that's actually your highest day for transformation, because in the transformation from moving from doubt, negativity, to wow, it's actually going to be my most powerful day because I'm starting like this. And even just recently, I started our next round of the certification that I teach in. And the morning of the first call, I kid you not, it was actually got to the point of comical.
Mm.
I just like, there was family drama. I'm getting hotline bling from my mom, my, you know, like all extended
Hotline
family. It's
bling.
like the whole family was, you know, erupting. Meanwhile, I'd had a terrible sleep. Meanwhile, I'm all down and, you know, I was getting really irritated, all the things. And instant shift, wow, this negativity, it must mean my certification call is going to be so big, so good, because I won't have this negativity if there's not so much light ready to come in, because it's expanding my vessel to receive that light. It's expanding my vessel to receive that resilience. So what happens? I totally shift that energy. It doesn't, I'm like, wow, this certification call is going to be the best yet. And it was. It absolutely was. It was crazy.
Wow.
It was actually crazy. I feel like it's unlocked a new level within this space. And it's always, sometimes when I have like a nice morning, I'm like, oh, damn it, it's not good. But
I love that
it
take
is,
so much.
and
I've never heard that articulated in that way.
well, we
And you
think
just
there's duality.
Totally.
There's duality. So if there's going to be a big, like people speak about like a big quantum leap, there's going to be a big quantum destruction before, you know, the dawn, there will be like you know, it's like the calm before the storm, or all of these things. So what people don't realize is it's so important, especially when you're in your becoming journey, which truly I believe that like there's no becoming. I feel like you are it. It's just more and more getting to know yourself and
Being
unraveling.
with her. Yes.
Unraveling. It's just the releasing. It's less of a becoming, it's more of a releasing, and then you are who you are. But people can get confused. They're like, I'm doing all this work, but then this really bad thing happened, or now I'm starting to doubt everything. And like the imposter syndrome is so loud right before I'm about to launch my podcast. I say, amazing, you're on the precipice.
Yeah.
Like that darkness, that inner critic gets so loud right before, because I see it, it's like the universe being like, are you ready?
Yes.
Are you ready?
And I know you hate referring to it as like a test or a challenge, but it is like
It is, yeah.
little moments of like
Initiation.
Yeah. I always look at those moments of it is just making sure that I'm fully ready to hold this, because we can often be calling things in, desiring things, you know, future version, future opportunities. Ultimately, we still need to be able to hold that when it lands. So it's like these little things are like, whenever they're showing up, I always just remind myself, I'm like, this is good. This is showing me that I'm on the right path, because these little tests are like a constant proof to me that I'm capable of calling in more, holding more, expanding more.
Fancy.
Yes. And if you can look at those moments constantly as positive versus exactly what you're saying of I'm being tested, I've got self-doubt, like, you know, those moments are actually should be positive reinforcement that, you know, it is right and it is correct and you are where you're meant to be.
Exactly. And like when these external events happen, they're technically neutral events. Like, for example, I could say like my family, like the family drama, that is technically a neutral event, even if it's big emotion. It's me projecting a story on it. It's me projecting what that has to mean of like, you don't even care that it's an important day or whatever, you know, but that's my own projection. That's all my own stuff that I'm putting on it and then creating a spiral.
Whether everyone else could just think that it's like connection between the family, making
Well,
sure
it is what
like,
it is.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
Yes.
it's just lifing. It's lifing, challenges challenging. Like it's just how life is. And when it's like when we resist life, then we suffer.
Yes.
Rather than saying like, oh, that person just got angry at me. Or, you know, I was just thinking like always an example that we can think of is like road rage. It's like if we give it back or if we create a story of what that means about me, of just like, oh, that just happened. Okay, like move forward. You know, like
the road rage. Because I messaged my girlfriends the other day. I was like driving out of our street and this like guy came flying around the corner and I'm turning and he like throws his hands up at me and like and I just like actually laughed. I was like, and I messaged
like love and light.
one of my girlfriends and I was I actually forgot. Sounds so silly, but I actually forgot people. My world feels so magnetic and expansive that I'm like, I actually forget that there's people that live in that energy and that force and that like frustration every day. I'm like, turning your corner, mate. Like, it's fine. Like, you've gone wide. I've gone the other way. Like, does it really? Like, he's just blowing up over it. And it was just this moment of like, why do we make so much meaning out of that? Like, he's allowed that moment to dictate something. And I'm just having a bit of giggle thinking, it's just a moment in time.
Exactly.
And I'm like, we put so much emphasis on certain things being good or bad or ruining our day or an experience. And it's like, there really just can be moments in time as well, you know?
Exactly. And then at the end of the day, it's like, yeah, he was the one that was creating anger in his own body
In his
and
own
like
body.
its own suffering.
And I feel like that was actually a really big shift for me. I've forgotten where I read it, but it actually might have been Abundance by Deepak Chopra.
Yeah.
Have you read that?
No, I haven't.
Oh, it's a beautiful, beautiful book.
Okay.
And I'm pretty sure it was him in that book, but he articulated it so beautifully that when we are living an experience, so say something's coming up. So we'll just say, let's use your retreat as an example. So you've got a beautiful retreat coming up in Bali, which you actually do, just context. But I mean, you could, in the lead up to that, be really anxious that people might not join, worry about the price, like all the fears come in, and you could fixate on that. Or you could be in total just like confidence, overflow, no real attachment, just trusting the process. If you deliver it from that fear, anxiety, like I'm so scared, all you're actually doing is living an experience that hasn't even come into reality yet. So it's like we're giving fear, anxiety, overwhelm to potential situations, not reality.
The imagination.
It's our imagination. So with what you could either live that and then that actually happens. So you live that experience twice, or like you did, you sell out Bali with just absolute overflow with ease. And it's like, you didn't have to live that experience. I'm not saying you were anxious, but I'm just using that as an example of like how we can live something and place it on ourselves before it's even here.
Absolutely.
And so often it's like, and I've had that with, you know, even flying with the kids this week solo, I was like, wow, I could have been so like anxious about this or nervous or thought like, oh my goodness, how am I going to get them entertained? Whether I was like, it'll just be what it'll be. Like I just trust this situation. Like all it's doing is, again, expanding me and showing me how capable I actually am. They were absolute angels. It was like the easiest thing I've ever done. And I remember having that reflection of like, imagine if I had have preempted or pre-worried about that.
Yeah.
I would have lived an experience that never even had to exist.
Yeah, and I would even argue it probably would have created more.
Well, absolutely.
They would have been feeding off your nervous system
100%.
and it would have created a different reality.
Definitely, yes.
And people think if I worry more, it will be better.
Yes.
And I love that you've just shared this example because this actually happened recently. I almost like wanted to put it extra to the test. So I recently went to Nepal on a silent retreat, was fully offline for 11 days. And it was in the middle of a launch. And I was like, great, I'm going offline in the middle of a launch. And like I did it even as a little bit of a test because I have worked through a lot with this, with like, you know, coming from never trying to convince people, prove it, or somehow that whatever number comes through is going to dictate how I feel about myself. And the less and less I cared, the more and more people joined.
Love that.
Like massively. And same with even Instagram. Like I really noticed the less I cared about like I don't check anything. Couldn't give two shits about I don't even know what the words are.
Audience, like your
I
data,
don't know about my
insights.
data. Yeah,
Like,
insights.
yes,
I don't even know. Couldn't tell you. I used to check them when I
Same.
like,
That was a huge shift I made.
Yeah.
Like I
know.
literally wouldn't know how many people look at my
know,
stories every day or
exactly.
anything. No idea.
Yeah. And so when it came with Nepal, it was like, it was just, you know, I get back and see all people join. It's been the biggest launch yet. And it was just such a reminder to me that like, no, focus on you, your life force, you feeling inspired, you feeling expanded to actually hold it. Like what's the most important thing rather than burning yourself out in a launch period or coming in so rejuvenated and replenished and ready to actually serve because it's a frequency thing. Like no one signs up to things because you know, of your funnel. It's like, no, I just felt so connected to you. I needed to like book or like, you know, I often think people will often say to me of like, I just like came across your podcast or somehow I came across your website. And it's like, you know, I know the universe has guided them there of like, they've thought, oh, I'm going to search human design, Australia, and they're in Canada. And this is what happened. I remember I had one of my first clients, actually, she was like, I just had this call to search human design Australia. Even though I'm in Canada, mine pops up. One of the first people that joined my certification,
Amazing.
you know, and she's a really dear friend now. So this is where like I speak a lot about things just don't make logical sense and how we have to be like celebrate that.
Yeah.
I don't want my clients to come in logically sense.
Yes,
I
no,
want it to
totally.
be dropping in, like, when I came out in Nepal, turned my phone on and seen all these people join.
Yes.
And I haven't shown up on anything for however long.
Incredible.
So I think when you give yourself that option, but it has to come from a true place. You can't be doing that. Oh,
From a yes.
yeah, it has to be from a like,
Authentic
no, authentic, like
overflow.
I am safe.
Yeah.
I am safe. And that does take time to create that. Doesn't have to.
And a bit of
But
repetition too. Isn't it? Of,
yeah.
like just those
Reality
building
checking
blocks.
yourself
Yes,
as well. Like,
definitely.
I'm good. Even for you, it's like, I've got a beautiful partner. I've got a beautiful kids. Like, life is good. Life is great. Like, I don't have to create any form of idea that it's not,
Yes.
or that I have to worry, as you said, or that there's any lack. No, I'm not. It's overflow from here.
Yeah, it's so true. Can you tell us a little bit more about your certification?
Yeah. What would you like to know?
One, what is it and how can people join?
Yes.
Because, you've obviously mentioned it a few times. I know you've shared with my podcast community your like just amazing understanding, knowledge, wisdom in human design, and have guided the women to kind of build podcasts that are really aligned with their human design.
Yeah.
And so I would love to know, I know beautiful people who's sitting here watching is like, whoa, it's calling. But like, how do you, tell us about the certification and how people can learn more about human design.
Yeah. So I teach, it's an advanced human design certification, starting from beginner, but it really is a powerful transformative space. So the way that I like to share human design is empowered, but also with this deeper awareness, this deeper knowledge. I was saying just on this recent call just 2 days ago of like, my goal is for them to come out of this experience being like, I am infinite potential, divine nature, anything is possible for me in this infinite potentiality.
Wow.
Because that's where you can get with human design.
Totally.
And that's where you can get with this in these types of spaces. Because for me, if you listen to this and you know about human design, it's not about being the perfect projector or the perfect 5-1. That is a mechanism to help you realize just how potent, powerful, creative, abundant, loving, divine you are.
I think it too gives you like this, I almost kind of look at it as in a way your superpowers or your strengths.
Yeah.
So it's like when you know that you are, say, like for me, projector 4/6, like when I have that bit of understanding, I'm like, oh, I know where to keep guiding that energy. Like I know if it's an intuitive pull, it's like my superpower. Like do not ignore it. So it's not like
trust yourself.
It's not like I only search for that, but when it's loud, I'm like, I know that's the guiding light. Like I know that's going to get me to exactly where I'm meant to be. So I feel like that's where it really helps.
Yeah, you can trust yourself and you can be more confident, and it's a permission slip.
Definitely.
Yeah, and you're super intuitive. I feel like the more and more I get to know you, even like I was just actually thinking about this driving here, like you are very psychic.
Yeah.
You are. Am I outing you? But you are. You've said so many things to me that have then come into fruition.
It's kind of, I think it's only...
Because that's your splenic projector. That's super intuitive. What was your profile? Oh, yeah, 4/6.
4/6.
Yeah, super intuitive. That's your 6 line as well.
It's actually something that I've had a lot more awareness of. I think... Do you know much about the clairs? Like,
yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I only really understood this year that I'm very much like clair essence, so intuition, but it's like the feelings are so powerful. But I actually had a spiritual guide say to me, she's like,
babe, you're the spiritual guide.
Fully understanding your clair essence power, she's like, it just continues to like unlock.
Yeah.
And so, I had some interesting visualizations and moments on a retreat, but not fully ready to step into it yet, but it's cool. I'm very open to it.
Yeah.
And when you say that, it doesn't scare, like it excites me. Like I'm like
curious.
So,
yeah. Exciting.
But sorry, we're talking about your certification.
Oh,
now we're talking about me being like
the important stuff. Yeah.
But I love this. But I do want to talk about this. Like, how can people join it? What will they get from it?
Yes. So you'll become an advanced practitioner, but in doing that, you will totally transform and change your life, your relationship to self, your relationships to others. So it's predominantly human design. I bring in lots of different ancient wisdoms as well with Vedic Kabbalah. I also bring in subconscious work, quantum physics. It's just a powerful space. It really
it's just
so much
in
happens.
Your energy. You are like so wildly magnetic, and but when you just like you're just such the embodiment of your work and your like energy is just, yeah, it's
Thank you.
incredible to be in your presence. And I
Thank
think what I really love too about what you teach is like what that, no matter what space you're in, like I'm in podcast mentoring, but now understanding from your knowledge, the girls' human design, like what confidence that gives me too then as a coach or a mentor for them is like
Yeah.
really understanding them on a deeper level. And so it's like it can be applied, not even just like you having that knowledge of human design can expand whatever field you're actually
Yeah.
in, because it's like understanding people on such a deeper level.
Absolutely, because the thing that makes people magnetic is that they're so authentic to themselves. And I
Yes.
think this word authenticity is just so like we hear it so much now, it's almost like a nothing word. But it truly is, because you can't take your eyes off someone that's so true to them,
Yeah.
even if you're like, you know, that's not really my style or not really my thing. Like when you feel someone's life force, that they're so passionate about something or that they're so true to themselves, you can't, like we're so starved of difference now. There's so much sameness. And like you just see it, it's like there's so much sameness, and not to say that that has to be negative, but when we see someone that is just in their difference or in their truth,
Just shines.
it shines, and
Yeah.
it attracts. And so when you understand your human design, it helps you get that to that on an energetic level. It makes it okay. It makes
Yes.
it great and safe and fun. And we really celebrate that in the certification. But in doing that, you then create a business from that energy.
Yes.
And so this is also like, I think it's the biggest business hack, because so many times people are doing things because, you know, maybe, especially when we see these things that you're told you have to do, especially on Instagram. And look, I was like, okay, well, I'm going to do this thing. And I'd always operated really intuitively with my business. I tried it. Like, it's not that it was like terrible, but it like didn't make it any better or any work. And I was like, I'm not doing this anymore. So I was like, I gave it a go. I did some field research, and then I came back to how what feels good for me. I think people forget, if something feels terrible, it's not the
not-
way to do
yeah.
it. Yeah, it's distorting your life force. So people aren't receiving the true power and the potency of your life force, because it's like going through all of these, like, you know, distortions and illusions and distractions.
Oh, I love
Yeah.
that so much. And you have an amazing podcast. Look,
Oh,
let's
thank
be
you.
honest, I could talk to you forever and ever, and I know there'll be more conversation on here to come.
Yeah.
But sorry, you have a beautiful podcast which
Yeah.
explores human design and so many beautiful conversations on there.
Yeah.
So, podcast, Instagram, where can people find you?
Yeah, both. I feel like the podcast is the best place.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm really proud of the podcast. I really love the podcast. It's such a labor of love, and such a like, when I get inspiration or a download or something really lands with me, I just grab that mic and like, I'm a lot of the time I'm like in bed, like maybe just rolled out of bed, and then like, okay, right, it's
I
coming
love
through.
that.
It like, yeah, it's my greatest love and
It's
greatest
amazing.
thing that I love to share. So
Yeah.
definitely the podcast.
Yep.
Yeah.
Designed as you, you'll be absolutely hooked once you
Aw.
start this process. It's just like the biggest deep dive. Hillary, thank you so much for
Thank
joining me.
you.
I could talk to you for a lifetime,
Thank you for
and I know we'll
having
have many
me.
more chats, but thank you for being here with me today.
Thank you. And honestly, thank you for your friendship. I know that we've only been friends for like a few months, but your generosity and your love and your energy and your kindness is like it's really rare. I
Oh,
know. And
that's
like, I ask you a question, I ask some advice on something, and you're so generous.
oh,
You really are. You're like
thank
such
you.
a beautiful embodiment of a 4/6
Oh,
of like, and as well bringing people together. So thank you for like
oh,
your energy, your life force, your contribution here.
thank you.
You're such a beautiful, beautiful person. It's
That's
like
so
honestly
kind.
such an honor to be your friend.
Thank you. I
Yeah.
feel exactly the same about you.
Aw.
And it's like, I think that that's, you know, the power sometimes of like doing, I don't want to say it as the work, but I mean, like, even when you're saying about the inner child healing, and it's
Yeah.
like doing these modalities and like prioritizing self and that self mastery, we've just been attracted to each other. And it's like, goes beyond just like having a conversation on the podcast. It's like, you know, a true friendship of like, of course I'm going to give you things, and you've given me just as much, if not more, of like, and I think, you know, that circle starts to be formed around you. Like,
Yeah.
you know, we've got all of these other beautiful girlfriends now in our circle. And it's like, it feels like we've known each other for lifetimes. Yet it's like, you know, in reality, it's a few months, but I like
Yeah.
fully believe that it is actually lifetimes. And it's just like
Yeah.
taking this moment of like evolution for us to be placed physically together again.
Yeah, we signed up for this.
We signed up many lifetimes ago for all of this. But thank you. I just
Thank
adore
you.
you and can't wait for many more chats.
Very excited. Thank you so much. And thank you all for listening.